to today's Los Blancos podcast. Today we will be discussing the Real Betis game and what we have in store. Obviously, today on the Bernabeu we will be playing Real Betis, and it's not been a good start to the Real Madrid season. Let's get right into this. It has not been a good start to the Real Madrid season, and we're hoping to really give it some oomph today against the Real Betis. And it's been a tough season so far, but it can all change within a game, and so that's what we're hoping it will be like today against Real Betis. Now let's talk about Betis to begin with, because I think it's important to start with the team you're playing against. And Manuel Pellegrini has said that Isco will not be playing, Cedric Bakambu will not be playing, Marc Bartra and Giovanni Lo Celso will not play against Real Madrid. So that's four pretty decent players for them. Obviously, Isco, Lo Celso is just a new signing. Marc Bartra is obviously key for their points as well. So these are guys who are genuine players for Real Betis who will not be playing against us today. So it'll be interesting to see what Betis come up with. If I was to get if I was to say, I mean, Betis have always been a tough team for Real Madrid to play against. We have a notoriously bad record against them, both home and away. We struggle to beat them. If I was to quickly, if I was to give you their predicted starting lineup, it would be quite difficult because they're missing quite a few key players, and I'm not completely sure who they're going to be playing. But if I quickly go into their squad, if it loads, we shall be looking at a team that have got plenty of quality, and so it's definitely a situation where it's not ideal, because we've played three teams, so far, with Mallorca, with Valladolid, with the Las Palmas, who all three teams aren't exactly top quality teams, aren't exactly teams that are going to finish top half. Now we're playing Betis, who are a team that expects to get Europe in every season, and so Manuel Pellegrini has cultured this Real Betis team to be a bit more tough to beat, and so their lineup should reflect this. In goal, I think they'll play Rui Silva. Right back, I assume they'll be playing Sabali, and then the centre backs it will be Diego Llorente and Nathan. Left back will be Roman Parau, and then the midfield we assume will be Johnny Cardoso. I assume Marc Roca will be playing in midfield. Pablo Fornal. Sorry, I don't know where I got Diego from. Pablo Fornals, and then the front three. Another midfielder would be William Carvalho, and then a front two of Abde and Ruibal. So obviously this is a very new look Real Betis team. There's not a team that we're particularly accustomed to playing. I think obviously Vitor Roque is a game changer for them. I don't know whether he'll be playing or not. But that's obviously a new signing they've recently brought in. Someone who I think we should look out for off the bench for Real Betis is Hassan Diao. I think he's a young player. He's come out recently. I think last season was his breakout year for Real Betis. Came in and scored quite a few goals for them. I think he's very raw. I've seen him quite a few times, and you can see that this is a guy who's got a lot of pace, a lot of that raw ability, which Real Madrid can tend to struggle against those guys, which guys who aren't exactly as technically gifted as others. I think Real Madrid do tend to struggle, and so Hassan Diao is someone who against the tight defense we're gonna have to be careful against, and so that's something I think we should look out for. I also think if they play a midfield of Marc Roca and Johnny Cardoso and William Carvalho, those three in the deeper are going to be quite difficult to break down, which is obviously something we're going to have to look out for. We've obviously played William Carvalho over these years and we know what he's about, but the other two are new signings, I believe, Marc Roca and Johnny Cardoso. Actually, did Marc Roca play for them last year? I'm not quite sure if he did, but he's been around La Liga last year, so I don't know whether he was I don't think he was at Betis last year, but I could be completely wrong there. He was at La Liga club last year, I just don't know which one. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we know what those three are about. They're going to cause us problems in that midfield, and so we're going to have to play a midfield that's appropriate, a midfield that's going to be ready to break down that team. The fullbacks are going to be playing up Perraud and Sabali. I don't see those two particularly, as particularly attacking fullbacks. They'll do attacking duties. They'll have attacking duties, but there will also be players that we have to break down. So that's definitely something we have to look at. Now let's move on to Real Madrid, because I think let's talk about our team, because we obviously played Las Palmas, and I gave you guys the review of the Las Palmas game, in which I was a bit livid with the performance. It was a pathetic performance, and I'd named it one of the worst La Liga performances that I've seen in my lifetime, which I stand by, even a couple of days later with a bit more clarity following the game. A little less emotion. I still think it was one of the worst performances I've seen. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about the Real Madrid starting 11. Goalkeeper, I'd go for Thibaut Courtois. I think that's pretty much dead on. Right back, Dani Carvajal comes back into the team. I didn't think Lucas Vázquez had a great game, and I think this should reflect that. It's Dani Carvajal playing once again in the team. And then the midfield, then the two centre backs I think should be Militao and Rudiger. With the left back being Mendy. Rudiger got completely run around by Oli McBurney, which I obviously told you about. He's going to have to make sure these four at the back, going to have to make sure they keep track of two attackers for Betis, because obviously they're not two strikers per se. The Abdi and Ruibal are not two strikers. They're two wingers playing as attackers for Real Betis, and so you'd have to be wary of what they're going to provide. And so that is something that Real Madrid fans should look out for, because obviously these aren't two physical strikers like we played against Las Palmas. Two guys who are just going to run around and cause problems with Oli McBurney and Sandro Ramirez. These are two attackers who are going to be on the wings and trying to come inside, and so that's what they're gonna cause. They're gonna cause problems there. And so I think Ruibal is obviously someone that he's been around La Liga for a while, but never really causes too many problems. But Abde is definitely one to be watching out for. He's obviously very quick, very, very skillful player, and I think that's something that we're going to have to be careful about. But as long as Dani Carvajal can keep him on locks, I think we can mostly keep this Real Betis weakened side on locks as well. Obviously Nabil Fekir has now gone to UAE. I think he's gone to who was that? I believe it was Shabab. No, it was Al Jazeera in the United Arab Emirates. So he's obviously gone to get that bag. So good for him. I think that's going to be the important thing with our defense. Then the midfield. Now, obviously, said about the midfield, we're going to have to pick a midfield to break down the other team. I think Modric was particularly bad in the midfield. I don't think he would replicate that performance in the midfield today if we were to play him. But for me, I think the midfield should be Tchouaméni, Valverde, and Arda Güler. I think Arda should bring his way back into the team. It's obvious that we need that ability to break the lines, and we need that ability to get in between the lines in this game, especially if they're going to play that defensive side. And so Arda Güler is definitely someone who can definitely break them down. I obviously said in the midweek how lucky Tchouaméni was that Camavinga was injured, because he would 100% be dropped right now. So that's something that Tchouaméni has to be wary about. Valverde, I think, should be ready and should be playing well today once again. Hopefully providing a little bit more defensive cover, because I've obviously said about Tchouaméni's defensive tracking. I think Dani Ceballos should definitely be used today if we need him, because I think against the former side, I think he can be very useful to relieve a few relieve pressure and ultimately take some players out of the game, which is what he's best at doing. He obviously relieves, if he's getting double teamed or something, he's very good at getting out of the pressure and taking 2 players out of the game, taking 3 players out of the game, and so I think that could be huge here. And then the front 3, I think we should go back to what we used to. Brahim Diaz obviously had a stinker in the midweek, play the front three of Vini, Mbappe and Rodrigo. Now, here's the thing. Yesterday I watched 3 matches. I'm going to be clear with you. I watched 3 matches. I watched Barcelona rip Valladolid apart. I watched Man City rip West Ham apart. And I watched Atleti be quite poor against the Athletic Club and then still win in the end. So those are 3 completely different games. Now, I want to highlight the first 2 in particular, Barcelona and Man City. In those 2 games, I watched Barcelona rip apart a team that Real Madrid struggled against 2 weeks ago, or last week, sorry. They struggled, Barcelona just found it so easy. Now, a player in particular, Rafinha, I thought had a ridiculously good game. 3 goals, 2 assists for him. 5 goals and assists in 1 game is ridiculous. And then Robert Lewandowski himself had a really good game himself. Now, these 2, if we compare that to Vinicius and Mbappe, they're not better than Vinicius and Mbappe. I'm sorry, they're not. Alright, I don't want to hear it from anyone. They're not better than Vinicius and Mbappe. But there's no doubt that they're playing better than Vinicius and Mbappe right now. So where did Barcelona go so well that against Valladolid that Real Madrid just couldn't do? Real Madrid couldn't do that against Valladolid. Where did Barcelona do all that? If we look at their performance, Valladolid did not play nearly as defensive against Barcelona as they did against us. Or was that due to Barcelona? I think that's something that we have to consider. Because, a lot of Barcelona's goals, let's talk about the first goal, for instance, right? I want you to paint this picture in your head. I'm gonna try and describe it to you the best way I can. Pau Cubarsí picks up the ball from the centre-back role and in a deep position, and so is picking up the ball, right? In the heart of their defence, he's picked up the ball. You have Robert Lewandowski dropping deep, hoping to get the ball. He drags out the defender as a result, and so Rafinha sees this guy dragging out the defender, dragging out the centre-back, and so Rafinha makes the diagonal run from the left wing through the heart of their defence, and Pau Cubarsí picks out a perfect ball in which Rafinha is able to get a touch off, and then he immediately shoots, and it's a goal. It's a great finish from Rafinha. It's great movement from Rafinha. Now, if we compare that to Real Madrid tend to only make the first move. I have noticed this. I noticed this against Las Palmas. Real Madrid made the first move, right? You talk about the first move that Real Madrid make. Mbappe dropped deep quite a lot in that game. Mbappe dropped deep, or Vinicius dropped deep quite a lot in that game. But you never ever see, I never saw from Real Madrid a team that, when Mbappe drops deep, Vinicius goes ahead and makes that diagonal run to go and make that work. Maybe that is also a sign that our passes from deep aren't good enough, but I don't believe that's true because Rudiger has shown in the past that he's very good at doing that same ball that Pau Cubarsí made. I've seen that, Tchouaméni can make that ball. I've seen that Valverde can make that ball. I've seen that Militao can make that ball. So I don't believe that's the reason why this team don't make that ball. The thing I saw from that team was the midfield 3 is just Vinicius is not making that run, and that can apply to Mbappe as well. These guys in attack are not making that run whatsoever, and so what we see from this attack is I see a team that is willing to make the first run, to drag the player out of the team, but is not fluid enough to go ahead and drag the right back into the left back slot. Is not fluid enough for Vinicius to go and make that diagonal run and drag his defender out of place. I don't see any secondary runs made from this team. I only see the initial run, and then it's back to the player in question. And so that's where I see Barcelona are dragging these guys all around the place. The fluidity in Barcelona's attack yesterday I saw was very, very good. They made that run behind. Robert Lewandowski dropped into this central midfield. Rafinha goes ahead and takes that striker role. Then you talk about Alejandro Valde going down the left, bombing down the left, and so there has to be a new player occupying that position, and that causes so much distress in the defence. And so you look at where Real Madrid fans are complaining, oh, well, Valladolid didn't play against us like that. They didn't play so open like that. Well, it's because we don't make those runs. We don't make those extraordinary, those good runs in which we drag the defenders out of position, make them confusing, and Valladolid are not a good team, and therefore that's reflected in the fact that they just don't know what to do. They don't hold their positions, but they get dragged out of position, and so it's so easy for Barcelona to cut through like a knife because the Valladolid have no idea where they're going. They have no idea who to track, when to track. They have no idea, and that's what happened. 7 goals came of that. 7 goals. And so I want to see Real Madrid do something similar. Because what I've seen from Real Madrid so far this season is I've seen Vinicius and Mbappe. I've seen these two guys, they're willing to play. They're willing to play and try and link up together. But I haven't seen two guys that are willing to play off each other. Because at the end of the day, Vinicius and Mbappe can try and keep on pretending that they're players that they're not. They're not players that are linking up. They're not Foden and De Bruyne and Haaland. They're not players that are meant to be linking up and trying to play that way. They're not that type of player. They're two individual players who are the best in the world at doing what they do. So try and do what they do. Try and do that. I don't see that enough from these two guys in these first few games, and I think that's where they've been going wrong. They've been trying to play and work with each other, but they need to try and work off each other, if you get what I mean. You know, there is a difference between working with each other and working off each other. Working with each other is simply passing each other the ball and trying to make runs based on that. Working off each other is working off their runs, working off Mbappe's run, working off if Vinny tries to take on his man, Mbappe goes and drags the centre backs so that Vinny can't get doubled in that situation. That's what I mean. They did fantastic at that, Barcelona, yesterday, and I know a lot of people don't like to praise Barcelona. I don't like to praise Barcelona, but they did fantastic at that yesterday, and I really had to note that down, because I think that was quite obvious, quite vivid for me to see that, literally a week later, to see a team that Real Madrid struggled to break down, Barcelona ripped them apart 7-0. And I know we beat them 3-0, but that was due to us just getting a goal, which was against, we did struggle against them. If we didn't get that type of free kick goal, then I think we could have struggled against them for the whole 90 minutes. But I think that's quite obvious. So I want to see that applied today. I want to see Mbappe trying to make runs that are completely independent of Vinicius. I want to see Mbappe, if Vinny's taking a man on one-on-one, I want to see Mbappe dragging the two centre backs away from Vinny so that Vinny gets that one-on-one. I want to see, if Mbappe drops deep, I want to see Vinny cutting through that space. If Mbappe is running down the right, I want to see Rodrigo going through the centre and Vinny going through the centre, or Rodrigo going down the left and Vinny going through the centre. I want to see that happening. I want to see another thing I want to see is Valverde. I want to see him getting down the right a lot more. I want to see him getting the license to get down the right a lot more. I want to see Mendy get down the left a little bit more, trying to help Vinicius. I want to see fluid movement, because there was not enough of that, and there hasn't been enough of that. It's been too rigid from Real Madrid so far this season, and I think that's been the main cause of problems from our end. So yeah, that was just a quick analysis. I hope you guys understood what I said, because I think it definitely made sense in my head. Maybe I didn't vocalize it as good, but if you do watch the Barcelona, just keep an eye on their movements, because they play the exact same team, and trust me, Valladolid are trying to play the exact same way. I see a lot of Real Madrid fans saying, why don't Valladolid play the exact same way that they do against Barcelona? They do. They try and play that exact same way. It's just Barcelona break them down better. They break them down better, and all this works because it just works. Now, there's also, I mentioned the Man City game as well, because I think there's another key difference. Man City showed us how you pounce on every little chance you can get, because Haaland scored 3 goals, 3 fantastic goals. The second goal in particular is just ridiculous from Haaland. It's something that Real Madrid just haven't had. They haven't had that just ruthlessness in front of goal so far this season. You saw that against Las Palmas. They were just shooting shots into the sky. They're firing blanks all night, and that obviously doesn't help either if you're struggling to create chances, and the ones you do create, fire into the sky is obviously not good for us. So I hope Mbappe improves on that. But yeah, I mean, hope you guys have enjoyed today's Los Blancos podcast. A little more analytical today, talking a little bit more about Barcelona's game yesterday. But obviously, I hope that we win today, because if we don't, there will be riots heading into an international break. It's not what we want to be talking about. We want to be talking about a positive round win heading into it, because Barcelona are currently 7 points ahead of us, which is that is horrific. Four games into the season, Real Madrid need to cut that down. 4 points, get that done. I don't care how you do that, but give us a little bit of positivity heading into the international break. But obviously we have been notoriously bad at the Bernabeu against Betis, so hopefully that ends, and hopefully we win today. But yeah, that is it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.